Soil testing, a scientific process carried out to analyze the chemical, physical, and biological properties of soil samples to determine the nutrient levels, pH balance, texture, and other properties of soil. Reliable soil testing starts with proper soil sampling. In this clip, we provide guidelines on how to establish an effective soil sample as well as the basic principles of soil sample collection.
Soil sampling is a process by which you need to collect a composite soil sample that you can be able to narrow down now to a lab sample which is supposed to be delivered to the lab for analysis. When you are going to collect your samples, what you need to do, depending on the methods, because there are various methods. Let me say, for example, you have 1 acre piece of land. One, you can either run a sample randomly. If you are doing shallow rooted crops, you can pick randomly from like 10 to 12 points. The sample that you are picking 0 to 20 centimeters, you pick it and place it in a clean bucket. After placing in a clean bucket, you need to mix together. After mixing, that's what gives you a composite sample. Now, we are having various sampling patterns. The most common one that can be used even with the outgrowers or farmers is a random sampling pattern. Because for this one, depending with the piece of land, you go to the piece of land, then you can randomly just pick at random. That's why it's called random sampling. At random, but you need like to pick from 10 to 12 points. Another one is zigzag. Zigzag is also simple because you go to the piece of land, depending on what you want to grow and how it is, then you can go on zigzag, but just decide, for example, you can pick from 10 meters, 10 meters, 10 meters on a zigzag in a given piece of land. Another one can be stratified. Now, stratified, it depends because at some point you may have a piece of land but is having different soil colors or different cropping patterns, and possibly you want to pick as per the soil color or as per the cropping pattern. So for this case, you choose the stratified one. Or you can have a targeted sample. Targeted sample is like possibly there are areas where crops are not doing well. So you want to pick a sample, but you are targeting an area where the crops are not doing well. So all this depends with how your farm is and what you need to do. But the most common one is the random sampling.
This is called a soil auger. It's a scientific tool that's used to collect samples from topsoil, subsoil, and the beauty with it is that you have the markings there. The first one shows you the topsoil, which is about 20 centimeters, and then you have the second mark going to 40 centimeters, which will also take care of your subsoil.
Remove any crop residue from the soil surface. With the aid of a sampling tool, in this case a soil auger, cut a sample by digging a vertical hole from the soil surface to a depth of 20 centimeters deep. Take care to ensure the auger is inserted vertically into the soil and not tilted to the side. Then, remove the sampling tool and transfer the soil core into a clean bucket. Repeat the procedure 10 to 12 times at different points of your feed block. With the 10 to 12 samples put in the bucket, ensure all clamps are broken. Remove any foreign materials, litter and roots. Proceed to mix the soil thoroughly for homogeneity. After mixing thoroughly, place at least 1 kg of the composite mixture into your soil container, in this case a sampling bag. Using a permanent marker, label the container clearly.
Now we have our sample straight from the farm and we are ready to receive it here in the lab. What you're going to do is capture all the details that we got from the farm, just to ensure that we have the correct information going along with the sample. And what will happen is that after registration, we are going to give our sample a unique code, which is our way of identifying the sample. After that, the results will be handled by the person doing the recommendations, and the farmer will get the results with the interpretation.
If a client submits a sample, from the day you submit the sample, you make payments for it, and we take 10 days before we do the analysis, the interpretation, the recommendations, and come up with a lab report. Now, all these in one sample, we are charging Kenya shillings 2,500. Now, if KEPHIS officer has gone to pick the sample, the KEPHIS officer will bring the sample to the lab. The sample also will be received. From the day the sample has been received and paid for, we also count 10 days to do the analysis, to do the data interpretations, and to do the recommendations and come up with a report.
For accurate and reliable results in soil sampling, do not sample where the field is too wet, when the field is too dry, near an anthill or termite hill, where lime, manure or fertilizer has spilled or piled, where trash has been burnt, or any other unusual area like salty spots.
For us at KEPHIS, Analytical Chemistry Laboratory, we are able to determine the chemical parameters of soil, which is in line with soil fertility. Based on the data, we are able now to make soil amendment recommendations, advising our clients on what they need to do if they have to do co-production, looking at improving productivity, yield, and supporting food security.